Lectric XP Lite, Lectric XP 2.0. Which one should you buy? Well, I'll give you some answers next on the channel. Alright guys, so what are the pros and cons of each of these e-bikes? Well, if you're looking to buy one and you haven't made up your mind yet, this video is for you. So I want to go over the best features of each and maybe some of the cons, and we'll help you figure out which one is right for you. So we'll start out with the Lectric XP Lite, my newest model, here in Sandstorm Tan. Nice creamy color, and that's my first pro of the XP Lite is the looks. I think it's for looks wise, it's a better looking bike than the XP 2.0. I say that because of the colors you can get. You can get Sandstorm Tan, you can get electric blue, you can get black and white. You can only get that in black or white, essentially midnight blue or white. And the white only comes with a step through version. You cannot get the step over version in white, only in midnight blue. So you have more color choices here with the XP Lite. And if looks matter to you, this is a good choice for that. This is a much lighter e-bike as well, so it weighs only 46 pounds, and it's just much easier to throw around and travel with and store, put in your car, in your back seat, in your trunk, all that kind of good stuff, right? If you do need to store it inside, it's also easy to take inside as well if you live in an apartment. But it's a much lighter e-bike and just better for that overall. It costs less, so you're talking about $200 less for this versus the 2.0, $799, $999. That's not a huge difference. I almost kind of wanted them to come out with this at like $699, which would make it basically a steal at that price. But it's still a very they're both very affordable e-bikes by far. So this has a slightly smaller standover height. I have to raise the seat height a little bit higher for me because I'm taller. This is a really long seat post, so if you are tall, it will fit you. You can actually raise it up to like that if you want to. You might look kind of awkward sitting for a tall guy sitting in this bike versus the 2.0, which is a little bit higher, and you sit a little bit higher when you're riding on the road. And last pro of this is just the travel friendliness of it, right? They kind of made this bike for truckers in mind, so they could throw them in their cabs and use them when they're on the road. I think it's a great vacation bike if you want to throw it in your car, you don't have a lot of space you want to take up, maybe you don't have a rack. This is an excellent choice for that. It fits in your back seat, it fits in your trunk, it fits in your hatchback, and there's really no issues. It folds down to like 36 by 17 by 27, I believe, are the dimensions of it. So just imagine this bike folded in half, handlebars come down, and a nice compact package for you. So the travel it's a travel friendly e-bike by far versus this one. The cons of the XP Lite, well, there's no rack and fenders, of course, as you can see. The tires are a little bit smaller than that one. Not a whole lot of bells and whistles, and of course this has less power. So this is a 300 watt motor versus 500 watt on the XP 2.0. Now that actually doesn't matter that much, and I'll show you later in the road test. This bike has plenty of power to do what it needs to do because it's so light. So with 46 pounds, you don't need a huge motor to get going on this e-bike, and so it's a nice pleasant surprise. I wasn't sure how it would handle, the power aspect of it and getting you off the line and things like that. But the XP Lite does a nice job at getting you across the street and when you hit that throttle and things like that. So no issues there. All right, let's move on to the 2.0, and we'll talk about that and the pros and cons. So first off, I'll start with on the 2.0 is just its utility, right? It's a much better e-bike for doing more things with it. You can go off trail thanks to the front shocks here. You have front fenders and rear fenders, so if you have puddles, things like that, if you want to ride a little bit in the rain, that's fine. You won't get too wet. You have a rear rack back there, so you can store, put a rack bag on it, or put a basket on it, and do more things with it, essentially. You can go farther with it. You can go faster with it because it's a more powerful motor, 500 watt versus 300 watt. Top speed is 26. They say 28, but it's really about 26. And it is unlockable. You have to unlock it to get there. This e-bike is not unlockable, so it only goes to 20 miles an hour. That's it. That's as fast as you can go, unless you're going downhill. This one you can unlock the settings up here and get to 26, 27, 28 miles an hour with pedaling only. The throttle still goes up to 20 miles an hour. This is better for light trails, as I said. You can do a little bit of off-roading with it, nothing too crazy. You know, gravel roads, dirt roads, logging roads. If it gets kind of rocky, this gets a little bit noisy with the metal fenders on it. But it's a better bike for just any kind of dirt trails that you're going on. As I mentioned, the range, so you're looking at about 35 miles in real world conditions. With a rider my height and weight, I'll be 173. If you look at the range estimates on the Lectric website, they're very accurate. I've definitely tested that, and they do a pretty good job showing you each PAS level and how far you're going to get. I think throttle only on this is about 20 miles you'll get. Throttle only on the light is around 15 miles, so about 5 miles difference in terms of the overall range there for you. The cons of this e-bike, I guess you could put the price tag as a con because it's more expensive. It's 200 bucks more versus this, but it's still extremely affordable, and I challenge any e-bike manufacturer out there to come up with a better, more affordable e-bike at $999 than the Lectric 2.0 is here. And it's just a heavier bike. That's the biggest con of this bike. Is it's more clunky to move around. It's 64 pounds. It's it's clumsy when you're folding it up and trying to put it in your car. It's just I never found a good way to actually move this thing when it's folded up. It's clumsy. There's no other way around it. So, but both of these bikes are excellent choices for the budget-minded consumer. And let's go do a road test. So I wanted to show you kind of the bikes in action and give you some ideas on how they perform against each other. So we're going to do how easy they are to ride without power. We'll do a 0 to 20 speed test. We'll do some hill climbing and agility drill. So I'll give you some real world footage and kind of give you my thoughts on how each of them ride compared to one another. So stay tuned. Okay, so let's do start out with a 0 to 20 speed test using throttle only. And here we go. $15, $16, $17, $18, $19, $20. 9.24 seconds. 9.24 seconds. One, two, three. 15, 17, 19, 20. 9.18 seconds. So virtually the same as the XP Lite. 9.78. Actually, the XP Lite was a half a second faster. Wow, it's 9.24. This is 9.78. Alright, let's see how easy this bike is to ride without any power. On a fairly flat stretch here, to 9 miles an hour to 10. Yeah, very nice. Pretty easy to ride. Doesn't feel heavy at all. Keeping a nice cadence, 9.3, 9.1, 9.3 again. So very easy, very smooth, and just feels like a regular bike at that point. All right, let's try the no power test on the XP 2.0. This bike definitely feels heavier when you're pedaling it. I'm doing 8 miles an hour. I just hit 8.9. Now I'm at 9. On the Lite, I was hitting 10 miles an hour on this same stretch here. So this is a tad slower when pedaling with no power, for sure. And you feel it too in the pedaling. I'm in 7th gear, but yeah, definitely a tad slower with no power. And you work a little bit harder there. This bike is very agile. It just corners really quick. Do some really sharp turns with this thing. So it's definitely a more agile bike than the 2.0. You know, agility-wise, this is still a very agile bike. It might be a little more confidence when you're doing stuff like this, because it is a little bit heavier. You feel like you're in more control versus the XP Lite, which is definitely much more of a, you know, whiplash type of bike where you can just go in any direction, and it's so light. You know, it's easy to just flip it around. Sorry about the wind, guys. It's really windy today. You know, the turns in this aren't as crisp as the XP Lite ones, and it takes a little more effort to do something like this with the bike. So just keep that in mind. It's a little bit heavier, of course, so you're going to feel that in the steering with the two bikes. Alright, time for the hill climb test. We're going to try to do throttle only on this kind of shortish hill. See how the XP Lite does. Doing 8 miles an hour, gaining speed. That's a good sign. Up to 9.7. Now we said 10 miles an hour. Up a, we'll call it moderate hill. 10.6 we hit there. That was the top speed. So, handled it well, no issues there. And now we're leveling out a bit, but it's keeping pace obviously on the throttle. We'll go up this steep little incline here. That at 10 miles an hour. So the XP Lite is a capable hill climber as long as the hill is not too steep. PAS 5 with pedaling. Okay, we hit 11, so it's about 1.5 miles faster with pedaling. There's 12 miles an hour. And about 2 miles an hour faster with pedaling, roughly. So we just crested there. So about 10 miles an hour up with throttle and 12 miles an hour up with pedaling. Now we'll do the XP 2.0. All right, let's do a throttle only up this moderate hill. Okay, we're gaining steam, 9.6, 10.3. Still climbing, 10.8, 10.9. 10.9 was the tops. And starting to level out here. So, fairly similar to the Lite. See how it does up this little incline up here. $12 miles an hour up there. Throttle only up this grass hill. You know, it's only slightly better than the XP Lite and the hill stuff. You know, 1 or 2 miles per hour, roughly. So the 2.0 is a bigger bike than the XP Lite, but it feels that when you're on it. You feel a little more, I don't know, you sit higher up, so you have a little more command of the bike, it seems like. In terms of the seating position, I do prefer this one versus the Lite. You know, with the Lite, we do a throttle up here, or PS5 pedaling up the hill. With the Lite, the seat post is, I have to lift it up really high to feel comfortable riding that thing, because I am 6 foot tall. So, I mean, this hill is nothing for this 500 watt motor on this XP 2.0, and that was like almost no effort on my part coming up the hill in PS5. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed that little comparison. You know, just to sum it up, I mean, both great bikes. If you're going to ride a lot, do a lot of e-bike riding, I'd go for the 2.0 because you get more functionality, more power, more range. If you're just seeing something more casual, keep up with your kids or give it to your kid as their first e-bike, you know, teenager, you know, get the 2.0. If you need to travel with it more, that's the one for you. But both great bikes, $799, $999. Got any questions or comments? Put them in the video there, and I'll see you next time on Crisscrossed.